Hey everybody, this is your broker Zach. So today I wanted to cover two of the most underutilized and underused forms within the Tennessee Realtor contracts and forms. So there's like over 150 forms that Tennessee Realtors have created, and I think these are the two of the most underused forms. And these will help protect you better legally, you and your client. So the first one relates to a common sentence that we see over and over in our purchase and sale agreement. And that sentence is, if we look at line 307, via the notification form or equivalent written notice. Again on 311, via the notification form or equivalent written notice. So what a lot of real estate agents deem as equivalent written notice and what they deem acceptable is just an email. So can you guys think why that might get you into trouble during a transaction? So let's look at this inspection period, for example. So let's say I'm in my inspection period and the buyer has their inspection, and now via the notification form or equivalent written notice, I can let the seller know that I have specified objections and I'm terminating this agreement, or I accept the property in its as-is condition. So let's say buyer had their inspection, they call me as their buyer's agent and say, hey, Zach, I want to go ahead and let the sellers know that, yes, the house needs some repairs, but you know what? I want to go ahead and accept the property in its as-is condition. I'm good to move forward. Can you please let the sellers know? So I hang up the phone, I write an email to the listing agent and let them know, hey, my client is accepting the property in its as-is condition. Well, the problem arises if your client, let's say they call you an hour later and they say, oh yeah, I never told you that I'll accept the property as is condition. I wanted to terminate the agreement. I want out. Well, that can get you in a lot of trouble because the only record you have is a phone call. You have nothing in writing. So that's where this notification form is a lot better than just sending an email. Because if I zoom out here and I scroll to my notification form, this is the notification form. It's form RF 656. But at the very end, it has your client sign off. And it has all these different checkboxes for what you want to notify the other side of. So this applies to sellers too. So this is notification from the sellers, and different checkboxes apply for sellers. Or this is notification from the buyer. And then see right here, number 13. Buyer has made any and all inspections available under the section of the purchase and sale agreement and accepts the property in its as-is condition. So instead, if the buyer would have called me and said, hey, Zach, I'm okay accepting the property in its as-is condition. Hey, Mr. Buyer, that's okay. I will send you the notification form to sign, and then we'll send that off to the sellers and we'll be good to move forward. So now I'll check that box. I have my client sign here, and then I send this to the seller's agent and the sellers. Now I'm better protected legally, and we have a signed copy of what the buyer is approving for us to do. So then there's no, I didn't say that, or I wanted this instead. So this will protect you and your client a lot better. Read through these different check boxes. There's so many different things you can notify for. So like the appraised value did not equal or exceed the purchase price. Buyer's unable to obtain financing and is terminating this contract. There's just so many different check boxes. So read through this and use this form to better protect yourself. The second form that I want to go over is the additional contract language form. So this is form RF 707. And so what this form is a lot of the times in our contract, in the special stipulations, real estate agents, they're kind of all over the board with what we put in here. So for example, I've seen home must appraise. Well, what if it doesn't? This doesn't say if it doesn't appraise, the buyer can get their earnest money back. It doesn't have anything. So instead of trying to create legal terminology or phrases, which we got to be careful with anyways, that we're not practicing law, rather let's copy and paste some of this contract language into our contracts to better protect us. So one of the most common ones, seller to pay buyer's expenses. So seller to pay 1%, 2% of the purchase price or a flat fee towards buyer's expenses and title expenses as identified herein. Another very commonly used one is contingent on the sale of property. This agreement is contingent upon the sale and closing of the property located at buyer's property on or before the closing date of this agreement. If buyer's property does not close on or before the closing date, buyer may terminate this agreement with written notice to seller with refund of earnest money. So there's all these different common phrases and clauses that you could add to your contracts. And again, like I say, read through this form and you will be in a much better position to protect yourself. So it's got pools. This is another common one: condominium, legal description, condo review board, HOA review period, rental leases, if they need to check those out, rent proration. So there's all these different helpful information. This form doesn't need to be signed by anything. Again, this form is just literally just taking a paragraph that applies and plugging it into your contract. So these are the two of the most underused forms. They will definitely help when you're writing contracts or notifying the other side. They will help protect you legally. So I hope that helped you guys out, and I'll see you guys next time.